Howdy guys, coming at you again with a little back porch video. I recently developed a slug for my 410 shotgun. I have it right here. It's just a Brazil-Tech, sold by Rossi, made in Brazil, little 410 shotgun that I bought for 75 bucks and a mech shot shell press, and haven't cleaned it yet. Went out and fired it probably Wednesday, and now that was yesterday. But so it's just a little single barrel, and it's got the rib mounted. It's got 2 beads, and I did develop kind of a rear sight for it, just crude out of an old scope mount, and it just clamps right on there, just so I can shoot slugs with it and kind of use it as my 22 LR substitute, since I can't find any 22s in my neck of the woods. But I can get shotgun primer, powders, wads, lead, fired hulls all the time. So that's the shotgun I'm using them in. It's, I believe, either a modified or a full choke. However, doesn't seem to be a problem with accuracy, using slugs. That's just the shotgun I'm using them in. Has this raisable stock, but I put it all the way down because I need to get my cheek nice and low to see the sights and get a good sight picture. But hell, that's just my shotgun. I like that gun a lot. So the slugs that I developed weigh 135 grains. Here's one of them. So it's soft lead. As you can see, it's knurled, and I'll explain more about that in a moment. But these on average weighed in at 135 grains, and I made the mold out of this, for this bullet, out of an old Lee round ball, 311 round ball mold, and I'd use that for casting buckshot and projectiles for my little 32 revolvers. And quite frankly, I decided I wanted to cast conical bullets instead of just round balls for my pistols. Well, I used a drill bit that I had modified slightly, as made it to make round nose bullets. Tried drilling it into a piece of steel, pouring some lead in there and tapping them out, and the bullets looked okay and fit my gun alright. But when I bored them into the aluminum blocks of the mold, they came out grossly oversized, really nasty looking. They keyhole every shot. They've got to be sized, and they're not good bullets. So I had to rethink that approach, and I just kept the mold as is, with that one cavity for casting a single buckshot pellet and one for casting a slug. So then I decided the other day that I wanted to do a little experimentation. So I found a drill bit that fit the muzzle of my gun. I wanted to make sure the slug went through the choke, so I found a drill bit that fits snugly inside the muzzle of my gun, and I bored that down, and you can still see just the tip of the lead round nose bullet in there. I don't know, I think it makes the slugs look kind of cool. I really don't know what it does. I guess it adds the extra 5 grains of lead to make them 135 grain. Really, it serves no damn purpose at all. It's like a semi-wad cutter type bullet, I guess, with a little round end to it. So after I drilled the mold out, I gave it a good polishing, and that bumped the diameter up just a tiny bit. I went and I poured about 25 of those slugs, and I tapped them right through the muzzle of my gun with a block of wood, just to kind of start them so that they were flush, and then I used a small dowel and just tapped them in further, and all it has to get through is about that much choke, because the choke is not, in a shotgun barrel, the choke is not going all the way down the length of the barrel. It's just the first or the last 1 or 2 inches of the barrel, so it's that surprises some folks, but that's how it is. So after tapping them through the choke, they look like this, and I've got about 30 of them in this dip can, and they look like that right there. So they're just little flat base slugs, and these do stabilize, just FYI. I don't know how, but they, with no rifling, and they're a conical bullet, but these aren't very long. I mean, they're only 135 grains and don't have that much length to them. So then I knurled them by placing them on a flat wooden surface, getting a bastard file and rolling it like that, and it imprints the teeth of the file in there. What this does is it bumps up the diameter just ever so slightly so that it will fit in the 410 bore of the shotgun. So while it's traveling down the barrel, say it's inside the barrel and fired and expanding gases and all that, it's going to seal, but it'll have enough give to where it hits the choke. It's not going to have a pressure spike or anything. And these slugs, I do reload 410. I also load 20, 16, and 12 gauge. But what I was loading these, I'll talk more about the load in a second here. But that's basically the construction of the little slugs and how they're made. So before I move on with loading and ballistics, I'll show the mold real quick. So it started life as a 2-cavity round ball mold. I use this for buckshot too. So when I'm casting slugs, I'll drop buckshot off this thing, off that second cavity, just so I'll have buckshot, and they get dropped in the water as well to cool. And that's nice because I have hard quenched buckshot, and that's just a nice thing to have. I actually loaded up 10 rounds of 12 gauge 2.5 inch double aught today, or no, that was last night, and yeah, they performed fantastic. So here's the mold, the cavity where the actual slugs are cast, and let me just say, this drops them pretty consistently. I've weighed them when they get on, and they get off, through the whole sizing process, and they don't really lose any lead, because it doesn't, when I push them through the choke, it doesn't shave a ring like on a cap and ball, but it does just, it brings the diameter down ever so slightly so that it goes down, and it just kind of make sure that they'll get through the choke all right. And another thing, the knurling right here holds lube. I load these over black powder. I tried some loads consisting of 2 drams of Pyrex pistol, and oh man, those were fun to shoot. You get a big old cloud of smoke, boom. But a lot of fun to shoot. So next I'm going to talk about loading and ballistics of this round. So for loading these slugs, I have been using Federal Champion wads with the base cut off, and I've just been using the base as a gas seal, since I didn't want to buy anything, and I already have probably 1,000 wads at least. A little over 1,000. I got like 250 bags. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, that would be 1,250 minus a few boxes that I loaded, so a little over 1,000 wads. And I've just got Champion Federal wads up the ass, and they work great. And when I recovered these afterward, they didn't show any signs of stress. So the hulls I have been using for my loads are Remington Nitro Gold, and I've been loading them on a with my what do you call it, the little hand tool. Brain fart, lane loader. So I've just been kind of putting a roll crimp on them. I'm using Cheddite primers right now and 6 grains of clays. I also tried Hodgdon, and I how much did I put in there? I think it was like 10 grains of... God dang it, I have not measured my powder measure. I know I set it to a load that equaled 1,200 feet a second with a ½ ounce a shot. And when we fired those over the chronograph, they were getting like 1,400 feet a second and getting into 357 territory. So having a brain fart. I don't remember how many grains of that I put in there, but whatever. It's irrelevant. They were going pretty fucking fast and made a really cool sound when you fired them, and I was getting minute of Copenhagen accuracy at 25 feet. So the ballistics of this slug are actually quite interesting, being that it weighs 135 grains. That's kind of that's like 38 special weight, and I can propel this thing, you know, varying velocities and get approximate, you know, equivalents to various pistol and rifle cartridges energy wise, which I find to be pretty useful. Very nice. I could go 600 feet a second. I get better than a 22 LR, maybe like 32 ACP, I would say, and excuse me, and have something that's subsonic yet hits like a hyper velocity, and it's a bit bigger, so it'll have more killing power when it hits the, you know, the animal you're intending to put down for the reasons of food or sport or whatever. Hunting for food is what you should do, you know, eat what you shoot and shoot what you eat. So I would say I ran all the ballistics. Oh, hold on, big old dove right there. Wish I could just draw a bead on him and fire, but we got some bitch and yuppies right over there. Anyway, so you know, shoot them real slow, you know, subsonic. You'll have a nice little plinking load. Shoot them fast, like 1,900 feet a second, you'll get close to 44 Magnum ballistics. So, being that I can approximate everything from a 22 to a 44 Magnum, I'm pretty happy with this this little slug. I might start selling them if open up like an eBay store or something like that. I don't know. I really like this idea. Maybe sell the patent for it or something or other. But you know, very neat, very economical to shoot compared to factory-loaded 410 slugs, which are I think Remington Slugger are probably about, I'd say about $1.04. You know, you get like I think Lapua, or forget the name. What was it? Brennecke 3-inch. They're like $7.99 for a box of 5 rounds. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to pay that much. I don't care how fast they go. I can make them myself. But anyway, that just kind of sums it up. I really enjoyed making these slugs, and I'm going to do more loading with them, do more experimenting with them, and just enjoy them. So anyway, stay safe, keep your guns loaded, your lips packed, and your trucks full of gas. Bye now.